Alrighty, welcome everyone. Got my little logo in the back. Hope you like it. Welcome to the Islamic House of Israel live stream. Today we're gonna go over the feast days. When I was putting this together, I noticed that I couldn't do all this in one day. So we're gonna have to chop it up, and we're gonna go over the first month, I'm gonna show you a sample calendar of the month of Abib, how it's broken down, and then we're gonna go over the feast days inside the month of Abib. Okay, so I'm not gonna do more than 10 slides. Then I'm gonna let people come in, and then the floor is gonna be open. We can ask questions, we can talk, we can change the subject, and that's what we're gonna do. So let's get started with the lesson. Let me share my screen. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Let's save these. Let's do it. All right, this should not take that long. All right, feast days and Sabbaths. We're gonna go over the unleavened bread, Passover. We're gonna go over the month of Abib. We're gonna go over the new moon inside the month of Abib, Noah's ordained feast day. I'm gonna show you a sample of the 2021 calendar, and then we're gonna calculate our Sabbaths for the next year. So 2021, I want everybody to be keeping the feast days. I want everybody to be keeping the new moons. All right, 3 festivals. Also, in the Quran, they're Hajj. Hajj, Chag is feast, festival. All right. So these are the 3 feasts: the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of the Lord, Feast of First Fruits, and the Feast of Tabernacle. These are the 3 main ones. All right, today we're going to talk about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. I'm sorry, it was a typo. It should say bread, not break. Feast of Unleavened Bread and Passover. So Leviticus 23:5, the Passover to the Lord begins at twilight on the 14th day of the first month. On the 15th day of the same month begins the Feast of Unleavened Bread to the Lord. For 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. On the first day you are to hold a sacred assembly. You are not to do any regular work. All right. So the first feast of the year is the Passover feast. It starts on the 14th, twilight. What is twilight? Twilight is the time, the evening prayer time. The time when the light, when the sun is under the horizon and the light is hitting the sky. All right. Okay. So twilight is different from sunset. The sun has to be under the horizon. For 7 days, you must eat unleavened bread. On the first day, you are to remove the yeast from your houses. Whoever eats anything leavened from the first day through the 7th must be cut off from Israel. Now let's look at this. To remove the yeast from your houses. So on the first day, you have to. I got a list of things. Anything that has yeast in it, you have to throw it away. You have to get rid of it. All right. And it seems like, okay, I'm just gonna throw away a couple of things. Every year we go through the closets, we go through the pantry, we go through everything with a fine tooth comb, and you couldn't imagine how much things have leaven in it, have yeast in it. All right, vinegar has yeast in it. Some things I didn't even know had yeast in it have yeast in it. You have to get rid of that stuff. I did it, and I mean, if you're living with family and your family is understanding and they're believing what you believe, or if they don't believe what you believe, but they're allowing you to do it and they're following what you say, they're gonna be upset because a lot of your grocery is going in the trash. All right, a lot of it's going to go, especially the first time. A lot of things going in the trash. So in Israel, if you did not do this, you got cut off from Israel. What does cut off from Israel mean? Cut off from Israel is you go to jail. Okay? Just like if you caught selling drugs or if you caught killing somebody, they take you and they take you off somewhere and put you in a prison. So you're cut off from your family. You're cut off from the congregation. So those that did not do that in Israel was cut off from their people. They got put in jail. It was illegal. It was illegal. This is the law. Keep going. Foods with yeast in them. Bread products. A lot of bread products. Alcohol. Yeast. Soup. Salad dressing. Anything fermented. Bagels. Pastry. Croissants. Wine. So that whole week you cannot drink wine because it's fermented. That's yeast. No beer. That's yeast. Vinegar. Salad dressing that has vinegar in it. Let's just say grapes. Another type of plums. Certain plums. Tofu. Mayonnaise. And a lot of more. We're going to create a list. When we finish the site, we're going to put it on the website of all the products that we can find that has yeast in it. So fast food, you're not going to, for that whole week, you cannot buy burgers and stuff because burgers, the bread has yeast in it. So basically no fast food. All right. And when everybody get on the live stream, you probably can share more things with yeast in it. All right. So that whole week, 7 days of eating. You also got to eat unleavened bread. So you got to learn how to cook. Unleavened bread is very easy. You cook the unleavened bread, and you got to eat some bread every day for 7 days. All right. Some leavened bread. Unleavened means the bread rises. All right. I should have shown a picture. All right, Passover. We're going back. It's Passover. 14th twilight month of Abib. It's on the 14th at twilight. It says, tell the whole congregation of Israel that on the 10th day of this month, each man must select a lamb for his family, one per household. If the household is too small for a whole lamb, they are to share with the nearest neighbor based on the number of people and a portion of the lamb accordingly. Okay. Your lamb must be unblemished. The children of Israel got in trouble because they were sacrificing, they were slaughtering animals that was blind. Unblemished means it has to have both eyes. It can't be limp. Okay. It can't be an animal that's shot up. Okay. It has to be unblemished. It has to be a beautiful, perfect, year-old male lamb or a goat. Right here. Sheep or the goats. Okay. So here's another aspect. On the 10th day, we're in the month of Abib. The 10th day, you need a lamb, you need a goat. And once we become a congregation, inshallah, we'll come together, we'll get the goats, we'll get the sheep, and we'll fulfill what we gotta fulfill. Passover, you must keep it until the 14th day of the month. So you gotta get you a sheep, get you a goat. When the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel will slaughter the animals at twilight. So you get it on the 10th day, keep it, 14th day, twilight, the whole congregation slaughter it. You put the blood on the door frames. I'm thinking of so many ideas. I should have put a picture of a door frame up there so you can see exactly where to put it. Door frames are the houses where they eat the lamb. They are to eat the meat that night, roasted over fire, along with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. So you have that night to eat, and it has to be roasted. Another thing, the bones cannot be broken. It has to be like roasted. I'm gonna buy this thing on Amazon where you can like how they roast pigs, but we don't do that. You can it has to be whole. It can't legs can't be broken. You cannot go buy lamb at a store. No, it has to be killed that night at twilight. You have to eat it with bitter herbs and unleavened bread that night. Let's talk about bitter herbs. Now that's a jewel that the Most High gave us. Bitter herbs. Some of these bitter herbs, you probably don't even know, never seen them or heard them before. But a lot of bitter herbs, the pharmaceutical companies, doctors, they take these herbs and they put them in pill form. They use them in medicine, some of them. So these are the bitter herbs. This is the benefit of bitter herbs. I'm just gonna pick out a couple of them. I like this one, dandelions. Dandelions are in your yard. They're in your yard, in some of your yard. It lowers cholesterol level. It's a blood purifier. It decreases blood pressure. Ooh. Don't we have a problem with blood pressure and cholesterol in the Black community? Most bitter herbs are antiviral. Right now they're studying wormwood to be a COVID treatment. They're studying it right now. I already know it is. Wormwood is probably the most bitter herb that I ever tasted in my life. Oh my God. Let's look at this one. Yarrow reduces asthma, symptoms of asthma, respiratory problems. It helps to regulate abnormal menstrual cycle. And there's many, many, many more bitter herbs out there. So it's like once a year, we take these bitter herbs that night, and it kind of seems like it kind of cleans us out, get us ready. Here's my testimony. Ever since I've been keeping the Passover in the right time, on the right date, with the bitter herbs, I have not gotten sick since the first time I did the Passover. I have not gotten sick. I'm not saying I'm not going to get sick, but I have not gotten sick since then. All right? That's a blessing. Passover, how to eat it. You can't, I'm just going to paraphrase it. You can't you don't boil it in water. You don't eat the meat raw. You don't cook it in water. It has to be roasted over fire. Its head and legs and inner parts. Do not leave any of it until morning. Before the morning, you must burn up any part that is left over. So it has to be roasted. Eat it with unleavened bread. Eat it with bitter herbs. And before that sun come up, before Fajr, before morning prayer, it need to be burnt. It need to be totally burnt and put outside of the camp. This is how you are to eat it. You must be fully dressed for travel with your sandals on your feet and your staff in your hand. Okay. You are to eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. You got to eat it quick before the sun come up. Got to eat it. Get your piece of it before the sun come up. So this is a night thing. The Passover is a night thing. The Lord's Passover. Let's look at the calendar for 2021. First, we're at the end. We're going to establish the month of Abib. I'm going to show you the first month. We're going to go slow. I'm going to show you the first month of IHOI's calendar, 2021. So 2021, the spring equinox is March the 20th at 5:37 a.m. on a Saturday. Okay? So we know Enoch 72:32, on that day the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day. That's the equinox, equal to the day. And the year is exactly as to its days, 364. So when the year is rounded out, the last day of the year is the equinox, according to Prophet Enoch. So the first day of the year should be March the 21st. Again, Also, we're going to locate the new moon in the first month to establish our seasons and Noah's feasts. And then we'll be done. All right, let me show you something. All right, next I want to show you. Oh, we got some people. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Next, I'm going to show you IHOI's calendar, the first month. Here we go. I'm going to stop sharing. And then I'm going to share the screen again. Let's see, I need to put that up. Where you at? Okay, there you go, there you go. Got it. I'll let some folks come on. All right, let's look at this calendar. Abib, first month. We establish the New Year day is March the 21st because the last day of the year is the equinox, March the 20th. So we're going to count 1, 2, and it's on a Sunday. I mean, it's on a Saturday, equinox on a Saturday this year. This will change. So we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Boom, now we have established the Sabbath because you count the Sabbath. We don't establish Sabbaths based off the moon. So we count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this will change because we're translating the real calendar into the Gregorian calendar. So that now you got your Sabbaths established. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sabbath. So next year is going to be on a Saturday. And that's good. That's great. All right, we're looking here. Now, we count 7. Boom, we're on the 14th day. So April the 3rd is your Passover. Because we counted on the 14th day. Now on the 10th day, right here, March the 30th, you need to get your animal. You need to get your goat. You need to get your lamb. I need to write that in. So now we have our 14th day. On the 15th day, we have the feast, the week of unleavened bread. So it's going to be April the 4th through the 10th. This whole day. All right. Now, Noah's new moons. It says in the book of Jubilee, the new moon in the first month, the new moon in the 4th month, new moon in the 7th month, new moon in the 10th month. Now let's find the new moon in the first month. April the 11th. Last year, it was March the 24th. All right. So new moon, April the 11th. That means we're going to have this year, we're going to have a long winter. We're going to have a long winter. Okay. There's some years where it like is hot during I'm gonna say I don't believe in Christmas now, but we're gonna say it. During Christmas time, it'd be like hot. It'd be like, man, why is it so hot in Christmas time? Because the seasons is based off these new moons. And sometimes in March, it'd be like still cold. Because it changes. Sometimes it's based off that new moon. Sometimes you're gonna have long winters, kind of like the what's that little animal that sees a shadow? So you can figure out if you're gonna have a long winter, short winter. So we know spring is gonna kind of start here. So we're gonna have probably a long winter. That's not good for COVID. All right. And then you're gonna count. You're gonna count 1 week, 2 weeks. You're gonna count for 13 weeks, and then another new moon should fall on the 13th week. And then that's gonna change to the next season. It should be another new moon 13 weeks from this week. That's the feast of weeks. The weeks, 13 weeks. And that's gonna happen until you get 52 weeks. Based off the 4 new moons now. From this new moon to the 4th month new moon should be 13 weeks. From the 4th month new moon to the 7th month new moon should be 13 weeks. 7th month to the 10th month should be 13 weeks. 10th month it should be 52 weeks. And that's going to determine your seasons. You don't take the new moon and start your calendar. That's what the Jewish heathens, Gentiles do. The new moons is inside the calendar. It's inside the calendar. And it is how you figure out your seasons. Through 4 of the new moons, not 12 of them. Like the Sunnis, we don't use all 12 moons. We only use 4 of them. Alrighty. So now, and I will make a copy of the completed calendar. I'm going to go through the calendar. Next time, I'm going to go over the next feast. And I'm going to go through the calendar. Month 2, month 3. And you should have 100% clear understanding, scriptural wise, of when the feast days are, when the Sabbaths are, and when the new moons are. Now this is all right. Alrighty. I hope I made sense. And I can send y'all a copy whenever I finish it up. I can send y'all a copy. All right, let's see. Yeah, Groundhog. Thank you. Groundhog Day. All right. All right. Nobody want to come in? Anybody want to come in the chat? Okay, well, we got Groundhog. Let me see. I'm gonna post some of these. Can you make it bigger, brother? Ugh. Y'all can't see it? Oh, you need a link. Oh, yeah. I'm tripping. You all couldn't see it? Nor could you see it? Let me get y'all a link. Where we at? Where's the link? Invite. There we go. All right, I just dropped the link. Open Sesame. We're good if it will be placed on the website. Yes, it will be placed on the website, but I really wanted you all to actually see what I was teaching. Come on in. And oh, I keep saying class. I'm a teacher too, so I'm gonna say class. I didn't mean to say class. We can change the subject. Anything y'all want to talk about, we can talk about it. Come on in. Peace, shalom. Salam alaikum. How you doing?
Shalom, salam alaikum. How are you, brother?
Doing pretty good. How's it going with you?
Yeah, brother. I wanted to talk to you about if you could go over, that was a very good presentation on the calendar and the Passover. I wanted you to go over, or let's talk briefly about the sources of Sabbath in the Quran. I had a discussion with, of course, a lot of Muslims who are, they're either against it or they don't understand it. But my understanding of this is that the Sabbath is for Bnei Israel, is for the children of Israel. And so while everyone can adopt the Tawheed of the Creator and observe the laws, there are special rules and salutations for the children of Israel. I wanted to get your perspective on that because the argument that you get is that, well, look, this has all been abrogated, that we don't have to obey any of these laws. It's kind of like what the Christians argue with the New Testament.
Right. Yes,
and so what's fascinating about this is that the Quran mentions these terms: Sabbath, covenant, Torah, all these terms, but it doesn't tell you what it is. And so the only way that you can know what it is to go into the Torah, go into the commandments. So the counter argument is that, well, we use the Hadith. So that's the argument, is that people, jump into Hadith, and Hadith is problematic.
Right.
Into not only the argument with Isnad, but we get into oh man, different arguments between the Shia, the Sunni, the four schools of fiqh, the schools of fiqh that have died out. And then you get into, you know, what is it Sahih? Is it Hadith that are the Isnad is so clear that you can make religious rulings on it? That's a whole dissertation subject. I didn't mean to digress, but from what I have understood is that from what I'm understanding, what is clear is that it says that the Quran says that the Sabbath it curses the Sabbath breakers.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
It said they'll be despised and they'll be despised as apes, and I don't look at that as literal. I look at that as allegorical, because what people do they call apes and despise? Number two, it says that the covenant it's a covenant forever. It's clear. It doesn't say that okay, well now it's over. You know, after you know the revelation of the Quran, and then the Quran was never a book. It wasn't a book form. It was a oral form, and then it was compiled later in book form. And then there's debates about, you know, this surah is supposed to be in there, that surah is not supposed to be in there, and I don't want to get into that because people think I'm attacking the Quran, and I'm not. And so I kind of wanted you, like, you know, discuss your perspective on because a lot of people are new to this, and they're coming into this and they're saying, okay, well, I can't see this in the Quran. I'm not going to look at the Torah. So I want to go over the how the Quran talks about the injunctions or the Sabbath and the Sabbath breakers in the covenant.
Yeah. I want to share my thoughts about the curse be apes. I believe that some of us, not all of us, when we migrated into Africa, we lost our scriptures, and we, you know, kind of lost, you know, we lost civilization. I believe at one point, and we did become ape-like, because we was like literally homeless, traveling through Africa, and at points we lived in the jungle, in the woods. You know, we lost our God, and there are some tribes in Africa that became ape-like. There's some tribes that actually, I'm being real. I can show you.
I know, because you know who alluded. Do you know who alluded to that? You're not going to believe this, but you know, Elijah Muhammad kind of said that when he said the tribe of Shabazz went down and became savages. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I mean, we did. We went down there, and we there's some tribes that became cannibals at one point. Became straight cannibals. Yeah. And that's us. That's our blood type. That was us. I didn't say all of us. What it happened to all of us, but you know, the Book of Jubilee, the Book of Enoch. I see the Quran as what it says. It says the Quran it confirms the earlier scriptures. Confirm means to make it even truer. All right. So I don't see them as like separate. That's just the way my mind works. The Sabbath, the Book of Jubilee says the Sabbath was made known to the children of Israel. It wasn't made known to everybody else. It's like an extra blessing that we received to even know that there was a Sabbath. All right. So the Sabbath is obligatory upon the children of Israel.
I broke it down like this. I tried to
everybody else.
I broke it down like this, and that was like if you're in a karate class or martial arts class, you have you have techniques that everybody learns, and then you have techniques that the black belts learn. And what the black belts are required is a little bit more extra than what everybody else learns. So it's not a punishment or a burden. It's just that for this covenant with these people, there were extra requirements, because the goal of the people, the whole goal of the chosen people were not to denigrate anybody else, but to give this tawheed, this peace unto the world, to lead this civilization into the most high worship of the Creator. And many of our people are now discovering who they are, what they are. Slavery is starting to make sense, because it was all about permission of God, by law. And so people now are saying, you know what? This is making sense. This is why we were enslaved in Arabia, Turkestan, Turkmenistan, the Ottomans, and it goes on and on and on. And of course, not all black people are Israelites, but a lot of black Israelites, and those of us who are descendants of the West African slave trade, we're definitely in that category. We can show that through lineage. We can show that through DNA haplogroups. And so this awakening that's going on right now, it's just an explosion of knowledge. So there's so many Hebrew Israelite camps, and there's people who are trying to make it and mix it so some are still Christians and they're doing Passover, some are Tanakh only, and it's just an explosion of knowledge right now. And to tell you how explosive this knowledge is now you have the Israeli government and Israeli scholars who are having to respond to this. You got rabbis saying, wait a minute, we got to respond to this because this is spreading like wildfire. And I'm sure, and even if you watch some of the the Sunni Orthodox Muslims, they're now responding to it. They're going on the corners and debating with Shamsi Muhammad Ajab. They're actually trying to engage with these Israelites because this knowledge is exploding amongst our people. And it's taking, there's actual whole churches that have left and have started to observe these commandments and feast days. And so it's a wonderful work what you're doing. I think you're educating a whole different segment of the population amongst our community. There's going to be a lot of resistance because we've been tremendously Arabized. And I realized that for years. We have been tremendously influenced by Arabized interpretations of what we're supposed to do, and because of the political situation with the Ashkenazi Jews and Arabs, that just even clouds it worse because they're so upset about the state of Israel that they can't even, if you say anything about Israelites or Sabbath, they just go nuts. So, but yeah, it's a good deal. It's a good. And also, another thing is that curses. We of course know the curses of Deuteronomy, and this is something that is not specifically kind of spelled out in traditional Islamic literature. So, I mean, what have you found on the curses? Because I can show it in the Torah, but you bring it to people that, oh no, I don't want to touch that. What has been some of your discussion or discoveries on that?
Yeah, when it talks about the people of the book in the Quran, just whatever you, I'll pull up some in a minute, but whatever you get time, pull up people of the book. People of the book is talking. It's another word for the children of Israel, right? And it talks about the curses in the Quran, not in detail like Deuteronomy, but I'm gonna pull up some. I'm gonna pull up some for you, all right, and show you. Give me a second, Noor, Sister Noor. I'm gonna pull up something. Walaikum salam. Say a couple things. I gotta pull up something. I'm gonna pull up the people of the book. Show him some of the references in the Quran about the children of Israel. Give me one moment, all right?
I'm sorry, brother. What did you just say?
I said, keep it going. I gotta pull up. Some verses.
Yeah, you got the floor, sister.
Oh, all right. Sound like to the room. I'm in here learning. I will say that it's been a couple years now that I've been following the calendar, and I've been Muslim for a long time, but this is pretty new with me following the calendar and knowing that I'm a child of Israel. I found it out one Ramadan. Every year, every Ramadan, I say I'm going to do something. So one Ramadan, I said I'm going to read the Quran, entire Quran. And then another Ramadan, I said, you know what? This Quran keeps telling me to read this Torah. So let me read this Torah. So when I opened up the Torah and I got to those curses into that Deuteronomy, I was like, whoa, this is me, this is us. And so haven't turned back, and I have friends who are in the Sunni, the Sunni and that kind of thing. And they're into the fiqh and the madhab and things like that. And so when I've come to them with this information, they're kind of looking at me sideways, like, we got the Quran. What are you talking about? It doesn't even matter if we're the children of Israel now. We got the Quran.
Wow.
So the thing with it is as we take this journey and we take this walk, some will accept it, some won't. Allah guides who he wills. But
can I ask you a question? Have you ever visited the Middle East? Like I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to Middle. Have you ever visited the Middle East?
I have never visited the Middle East. I've had friends who visited the Middle East. They've actually lived in the Mid East. They've actually went to school in the Mid East at the different Islamic institutions over there, and studied over there. But I've never been there myself.
What's interesting is that, I hear people say, oh, lineage is not important. But if you go to any Arab country, lineage is everything. That is why they are so bent on their names, bin, ibn, al, which tells the geographical location. So, I would be called al Amriki, which means I'm from America. I'm American, because I couldn't say, my slave name, Ibn Pitts, because in Islam, you can't change your name. So, lineage is everything. So when people say, "Oh, it don't matter who we are," I was like, "Why doesn't it matter who we are?"
And see, that to me, that's that post-traumatic slave syndrome. That we feel that way because when we were in our own lands, lineage meant everything. I mean, our father of grandfathers is Prophet Ibrahim, peace and blessings be upon him, and who wouldn't want to claim that lineage? Who wouldn't want to, so it's very important, but that's that post-traumatic slave syndrome. But all we can do is pray for our people and pray that Allah guides. It's an interesting journey. It's an interesting walk. But like Brother Kentron has shared, since I've been doing the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Breads, like you say, I have not, I don't know if he said it, but I have not gotten sick at all. I haven't gotten sick.
Brother Kentron dropped a bomb on the Passover and the calendar, because the calendar, of course, I was using the Hebraic calendar, the traditional Hebraic calendar. So I definitely got to dig into that calendar. There's another guy on the internet named Divine Prospect. He talks about the different calendars and stuff, but the pre-exilic calendars before the exile. So Brother Kentron definitely cracked open an atom today. I'll have to dig deep into.
Well, let me tell you, while you're digging deep, what I got from it was that book of Enoch. I don't think he mentioned the book of Enoch today, but where he pulled that 100 that we have, you did pull okay, I'm sorry. But with the book, sound like Brother Ray, with the book of Enoch and the right number of days and how we how the calendar is created is through the book of Enoch, because the book of Enoch is all about the seasons. It's all about the moon. It's all about the sun. There's some other things in there too. But a lot of the book of Enoch is about the heavenly celestials. So if you don't have that part, then you're not going to have the next. You're not going to have the next part. It's literally like a puzzle, fitting those pieces together. And if you miss one piece, then you're not going to get the other piece.
That's why the Quran tells us to go to the earlier scriptures.
Absolutely.
I have the. Yeah. Let me see. I'm new to this, so let me see. All right. Let's see. I need to go to. Let's go to tabs. There we go. I'm good. All right. Can y'all see that?
Yes. Can you make it a little bigger?
I can't, but I can. I don't know how to do that, but I can read it. Let me see. I'll just give you the verses. You can see it? Okay.
I need some glasses.
I just blew up my screen. I can see it.
Okay.
It's Quran 3, chapter 3, 110. It says, "Ye are the best of people, evolved from mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. If only the people of the book have faith, it were best for them. Among them are some who have faith, but most of them are perverted transgressors. They will do you no harm, barring a trifling annoyance." Okay, they're not. All they're gonna do is march. They're gonna march, but then it's gonna be annoying. That they probably marched when Muhammad was here. If they come out to fight you, they will show you their backs, and no help shall they get. Okay, so they're gonna run, just like with the gangs. When the police come, they run. Okay. Shame is pitched over them like a tent, wherever they are found, except when under a covenant from Allah and from men. So we can like we citizens of the United States, right?
Right.
So we're on the covenant with the white man. So that's why a lot of black people, like some black people, are not poor because you got to find you a good white man. If you're a foreigner, you got to be on the covenant of Allah or a covenant of a man, from man. They draw on themselves wrath from Allah, and pitched over them is the tent of destitution. Okay, this because they reject the signs of Allah and slay the prophets. See, now we know the people of the book, who the people of the book is, because the only people that slayed the prophets were the children of Israel. So it's not talking about Jews and Christians. Christians wasn't even around. In defiance of right, this because they rebelled and transgressed beyond bounds. So it says they're going to be in a state of destitution. That's where, like, when you go to Africa and go to places and they're living in like huts and stuff, wherever you find them, they're going to be destitute. They're not going to have anything unless they're like, unless the white man helped them, unless they're on a covenant with Allah, or they're under some type of citizenship or covenant with like a foreigner helping them. Go ahead.
And that just makes sense, because when we go into our communities, our inner city communities, like you say, a lot of our folks are doing well. Okay, not everyone is in a bad way, but if you go into those inner city communities, it's literally a fog. You have that. You can see the curse. You can feel the curse.
Yes,
and then also we're seeing we're like you said, when we killed those prophets, peace and blessings be upon them all, we're experiencing that over and over and over again. When we see our black males out there getting killed over and over and over again, that is basically us experiencing the curse, experiencing that punishment for what we did to our prophets.
Yeah, so when we see, this is sad. This is a very, very touchy subject.
Touch on it.
When we see our black men getting shot, and we like, God, why won't you help us? God is thinking about, hey, y'all killed the prophets. God don't play about his prophets. You kill the prophets, he'll kill your whole generation. He don't play about his people. You know what I'm saying? You kill one of his prophets, you could be cursed for 1,000 years, 2,000 years, 3,000 years. So we constantly got to see our brothers and sisters, like Noor said, we constantly got to see our brothers being shot down in the streets like we used to shoot down the prophets.
And
that's sad.
Now, this is the thing, and I think you had said this before, Brother Kentron. Once we understand who we are and we start taking on that covenants, the first thing is to ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
To say, okay, Allah, I know that we messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just my opinion. I'm not basing this off of my own opinion. Okay.
No, it's okay.
That Allah, I know we messed up. I know my people messed up. I see why we're in the condition that we're in, and then and to pray and ask for forgiveness. To ask for forgiveness for what we've done, because when we read through the scriptures, we've done so much. Even when Rasulullah sallam, peace be upon him, even during his time, we were doing things. So, just to ask for that forgiveness. And then from there, in my opinion, if we can do that, at least a remnant of us can do that, then in my opinion, that I feel like we'll begin to flourish as a community. We'll begin to move in the right direction.
I want to add on to that. We have to denounce our ancestors. And let me tell you, it's going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard for the Egyptology group to do that. It's going to be very hard for some of the African spiritualists to denounce their ancestors, because they almost worship the ancestors. Our ancestors is the reason why they was worshiping idols. They were voodoo. They're the reason why. So we have to denounce what they used to do, and I have to forgive them as well. Go ahead.
I wanted to piggyback off what Sister Noor said. The word in Arabic for repentance or forgiveness is tauba, which means to return, and the word in Hebrew is teshuvah, which also means to return. So both of them are trilateral root languages, and they both mean the same thing. And that's just another sign of the similarities or the lineage between the two. Now it's interesting though. So when you say denounce our ancestors, so that's kind of problematic because you have to kind of really get specific in what you're denouncing. We're not denouncing the lineage; we're denouncing the behavior.
Yes,
right.
I have a great granddad. He used to do voodoo. I gotta pray to the Creator. Hey, my great granddaddy was wrong for doing that voodoo. Please don't put that on me.
So what about the people who argue that some of the Vodun is actually some ancient, the sacrifice and stuff actually comes out of Hebraic culture? Do you reject that, or?
The way they do it is unclean, like doing it next to trees and sacrificing chickens. We have certain animals that are sacrificial animals, and certain animals that are not. They're sacrificing animals like snakes. They're not sacrificial animals. They're animal chickens. We know they're sacrificing animals that are not sacrificial animals. They're doing it at the wrong time. We have certain time periods that you're supposed to do it, and it's a certain way you're supposed to do it. It's supposed to be clean. It's not supposed to be dirty like that, because there's life in the blood, and you can bring all kind of evil spirits upon the community and stuff like that. Chicago, a lot of people from Chicago, they come from Mississippi. And Mississippi, they in New Orleans, they do their thing in the witchcraft, and that can bring about a lot of evil spirits. They can jump on our children and make them kill each other, gangs, and it can just destroy if we don't know what we're dealing with. No, I think a lot of stuff is unclean. I don't think that they're doing it right.
I think that the voodoo folks. I think that because we know that for the most part, Judah is pretty much over in the diaspora, but we do also know that with Judah, the Levites were there. The Levites were around Judah and in the other tribes. I think that the Vadum people they still have it in their blood to do these types of things, to do the sacrifices and things like that. I'm not saying they all are Levites or anything like that, but we have it in our blood to do these things. But instead of us being guided by the Creator, we're being guided by the Shaitan. The Shaitan lies on the path, and I feel like we're being guided by the Shaitan when we're going out and they're doing these things and they're summoning all these different entities and beings. They're on the wrong path.
It says they sacrifice unto devils.
So we have established that that we fulfill the curses of Israel, the death, the destruction, the fog, the being slave, our property being taken, our women and children being taken. And so in order to lift these curses, we have to respect the Sabbath, reaffirm ourselves with these commandments given by the Creator. What is so the next question, of course, is going to come up, because I know that you have talked about the 12 tribes chart and the rejection of the 12 tribes chart that you see on the internet and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about people who say that they can graft on to the children of Israel. So we're talking about people who don't have the lineage, but they want to graft on by accepting these commandments. And so that's where you get quote unquote conversion. What's your take on that?
Their prophet is Prophet Muhammad. That's where they need to go. Their prophet is Prophet Muhammad. Our messenger assigned to us is Isa. Jesus was assigned to the children of Israel, and Jesus said he was only sent to the children of Israel. We have a special thing that we have to do. Now, if they want to keep it, they can keep it. But to become a Israelite, you can graft in, but it's going to take 3-4 generations. You understand what I'm saying? If you are, let's say you're like half white, I'm not against nobody. If you have white and you want your children to become an Israelite, then you have to mix up and let your children mix in and take a certain amount of generations to become an Israelite. All right. But Muhammad is their prophet. Muhammad was sent to all of mankind. They need to go to Muhammad. And if they come to us, we're gonna show them with Muhammad. But the strangers, they can keep the law and stuff like that, but they're not us. They don't need to get rid of their own lineage. They have a beautiful lineage. What's wrong with other people's lineage? Like, Hamite, what's wrong with being a Hamite? What's wrong with being a Japheth? You're part of mankind. They can't become us. That's just don't sound right. So they wake up and they're Israelites now. You know what I'm saying?
Because there's a lot of
people on that one.
I know you don't hit silent because we're intermixing. Let's be honest, we're intermixing through rape, intermarriage, all kinds of stuff. We're now intermixed people. I mean, if you look at my family tree, I got my father's real dark, my mother's real light, and on my mother's side, and then it drops off because after my great grandmother, I can't figure out what happened. Everybody's hush hush. My ex-wife's family is related to Lyndon Baines Johnson because his grandparents had a slave girl,
right?
And they had a baby. They had a whole side of lineage, and so we do have a lineage issue. So because the Israelite is patrilineal, is passed down from father to son, even though the rabbis changed it to matrilineal in modern day Judaic law, in modern day Judaism. Then there's arguments on all of that. But my question is that for our people that have gone down to complete savagery, don't have knowledge of self, deaf, dumb, and blind, as the nation would say.
Yes.
Right now, our people are just waking up. They reading 3-4 scriptures doing around it. Then they give themselves a long Hebrew name, Ben Israel, Aki, Shemot, Moreh, Rabbi, 53rd, the second priest of Levites. And there's no process. There's no process to take this person who is completely lost Torah, Quran, Tawheed, and there's no process for him to stand up and become a righteous individual and the follower of the Creator. So shouldn't there be a process? I wouldn't say conversion, but like a reversion to take these people, because we got a whole bunch of people now who wake up one day and they go from Pookie and Ray Ray to Chief Yitzhak Ben Israel Netanyahu V, and they run camps, and then we find out they're doing some nefarious things. I mean, don't you think there is some kind of like a transition or something that?
Yeah, the creator was actually doing that. You heard of the Nation of Islam, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
That was a process of cleaning the blood. That was a process of getting us away from white people and making us love ourselves and making us mix back up with ourselves. We had to isolate ourselves to fix things. You know what I'm saying? Even
Islam theology is so Israelite, it's obvious. I mean, we're the chosen people, we're the original man, all that.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the teachings. I'm talking about the separation aspect, that we separate. That was like a plan or a plot to clean blood. There was also a plot to clean up blood. Dang, what I said. To clean blood. Now, this is what I think. I'm not saying that if you're another race that you can't be righteous, you can't be good, you can't follow the laws. No. Or you'll be denied. No, that's not what I'm saying. Even me, I believe we all should be thinking, hey, I want to clean my blood. I want to make it better. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying denying anybody, but we should try to be more Israel. All right, we should go to where the real 100% blood Israelites are in Africa. Get you a woman there. Clean it up. Clean your blood up. Make it more potent. Clean it up. That's how you correct it, by cleaning it up. It doesn't mean you're bad now. I'm not saying you're bad, but that's a solution.
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. But do I believe that the diaspora is 100% Israel? Absolutely, because
Yes.
part of the curses was that, you know, another man, you know, you marry a woman and another man would lay with her,
Yes.
that kind of thing. So that's part of the curses that we had this mixing going on, you know. But does that take away from us as being Israel? Absolutely not. But when you know better, you do better, and to
Right.
me, that's not being a racist or anything like that. That's just knowing who you are. And like you say, when you go to the different, when you meet the other folks from the Mideastern countries, they'll tell you we don't marry out of our tribe.
Oh,
They don't.
yes.
They
We
don't.
don't.
They don't play that.
No play.
We don't have issues with other tribes, and that's even in the Arab community. They don't even marry outside of their tribe in the Arab community, you know. So, and they don't have an issue with other Arabs, but that's
Yeah.
just, it just is what it is. And
We
I mean,
used to be like that.
Africa's like that too.
yeah, I mean, come on now. I mean, again, we're talking about, we're descendants of Yaqub, peace be upon him, Ibrahim, peace be upon him. You know, why wouldn't we want to keep that blood tight? You
Yeah.
know.
There is no hate
I have
towards
an idea.
anybody. Go ahead.
Peace and love, family. For those who don't know, it's your boy, Brother Bernard Eastern Bay, Moorish American Muslim, and you know, I subscribe to. You guys might hear a couple noise. I'm working for FedEx, but you know, Prophet Noble Israelite said that we have to learn to love instead of hate, and I think that's where it started. If we don't love self, then we're prone to fall for anything. We're the only people that outsource in relationships. Right. I mean, there's some Chinese and, you know, obviously mixed people that get along with us, but most of the time, if you go deeper into the psychology of it, one, they do it out of fun. They're just doing it to rebel against their parents. You know, a lot of people won't tell you that, and they're just they do it out of rebelliousness, because they know the father don't like that. You know. So I think it's a love thing. You know, it's got to learn to appreciate one another. You know, I'm married to a dark-skinned, you know, beautiful sister. You know, brothers out there who's single, get you a dark-skinned sister. Show some love. You know, and here's a hint, or here's something to think about along the way. They have vaginas too. You know what I'm saying? So just, you know. That's funny. I just wanted to share my little journey, if I may, just to go ahead, bro. With the family. I started off Baptist Christian, you know, out there, Chicagoland Christian Center, you know, Chi-Town. Then, you know, was atheist later on, you know, just asking questions, wasn't getting answered, getting ridiculed for even asking. And then became atheist around high school, midway into college. Moving forward, I jumped back on the spiritual wagon through Hinduism. Believe it or not, met a Hindu fella, and I'm hitting him with all the atheist stuff. Can God lift a rock? He can't lift it. Blah blah blah. All them questions. And he got to hit me with the he met me on the level. Well, let's go science. You know, you can find on the molecular level, you can find the same stuff in the moon where you can find in the tree, and where you can also find in yourself. So that made me go, right. I'm like, huh? You know, so I'm like, okay, let me look into that. Let me go Hindu, you know. And then from that, bumped into Buddhism. Same college. I was doing criminal justice at that point. And you know, I met an actual Buddhist, you know, straight up robed up, got the sandals on with a college Moraine Valley book bag on, you know. So I'm like, what? You know, I only see these guys in Five Finger Death Star movies, and, you know, them kung fu movies and stuff. You know, let me holler at him. You know, hey, you do karate or something? And so I got to hitting him, you know, with the Hindu stuff, and you know, the moon and the rock, and he hit me with the all that is an illusion. So I'm like, what? You know, even you an illusion. You know, I'm like, what? You know, so I did the Buddhist thing for about 2 years. I took that very serious. It actually even helped me through my suicidal thoughts I had at the time. So I took that very serious. Peace be upon Buddha. And then around that time, I discovered that my family was pretty much involved with Freemasonry. So I'm definitely like, okay, I already watched the documentaries and all that, you know, Jordan Maxwell, blah, 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 Illuminati, right? You know, orgy, sex, all that stuff. Been there, done that. 9/11 and stuff. And so I'm like, okay, well, you know, I don't think my family would hurt me. You know, I've been to enough family reunions. I've seen the same people. Let me go ahead and see what that's about. So I ended up becoming a master mason, 3rd degree, around 2012, and then discovered from this documentary called Hidden Colors that masonry came from Moorish science. So that's when I'm like, okay, let me look into that, you know. And yeah, one thing led to another, and you know, became made my shahada in 2012, and been a Moorish American Muslim ever since. Then I bumped into my brother Orthodox more. We was from the same temple, and he started to talk to me. Now this is bringing it home. He started to talk to me about how you can't just stay in the Circle 7. You need the Bible to and the Quran of Mecca to. They all, you know, alley-oop each other in a sense, you know. So, you know, I started learning about the Hebrew and the Israelites, and you know, about 16 prophets are Israelites in the Quran of Mecca. So I'm like, okay, must be something to this, you know. So to find that connection, and it was just, you know, that it's all of our stuff. It's all of ours, you know. And it was just a beautiful thing. So just wanted to just throw that out there. So far, I'm just a student of the Bible and the Hebrew alphabet, or the Aleph-Bet. So that's just about where I'm at. So thanks for the opportunity to express myself.
No problem, brother. No problem. No problem.
Shalom.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Shalom, brother.
Yeah, I got in a Surah Al-Ma'idah, it's the 5th surah of the Quran, in the 64th ayah. I feel like it'd be cool to pull that thing up. Show it on the screen. I don't know how
You want me to pull it up? You want me to pull it up for you, or you got it?
Yeah. Could you do it, please?
All right, give me a moment. Give me one moment. Let me see. Next time I have it all prepared. I'm going to go to the court. Let's go to I'll keep talking.
All right, so 5 and 64 of the Quran. There's this little thing I come across about, this is about, it says Jews, so we know we're talking about Jews, saying
That's
that
right.
Among them, some said God is tight-fisted, and the response to that is, may their fists be tied and they be condemned for what they said. Rather, he is open-handed, giving freely as he pleases. That which has been revealed to you, O prophet, the Lord will only increase many of them to increase in wickedness and disbelief. We have stirred among them hostility and hatred until the day of judgment. Whenever they kindle the fire of war, Allah puts it out, and they strive to spread corruption in the land, and Allah does not like corruption. I find this so interesting because we all see this as our redemption in ourselves, like individually anyways, our lives changing around, and we want to spread this to everybody else too. And this kind of makes it seem like when it says whenever they kindle the fire of war, God extinguishes it, that just kind of shows protests,
Yes.
civil rights, all types of movements that
Right.
we try to do aren't going to lead us nowhere anytime we try to fight or anything, because this is our curse. So from the beginning question that brother David asked, this, I feel like this relates to it, talking about biblical curses. It's like we still can't even move on if we don't pick up our scriptures.
Right. Wow. That's a good one. I could pick it back on that. But go ahead.
Did you know that I've been to Israel. I spent time with Ben Ami's community many years ago, and then I visited Eilat, Jerusalem, Beersheba. But when I was in Beersheba, funny story, I was riding a bus in Israel close to Shabbat, and I didn't know I wasn't paying attention, and the bus just stopped, like in the middle of nowhere. And I said, why you stopped? He said, it's Sabbath. And the bus driver got off and walked out the bus. So I was wandering around Beersheba, and I was walking, not knowing where I was. And anyway, long story short, I ended up spending time with this Ethiopian Jewish family. They were actually from Beta Israel. And they're the only community in Israel that uses the book of Enoch. I didn't know if you knew that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they have a different calendar. They have a different calendar. The laws of kashrut or kosher is different from the rest of Israeli society. It was very interesting because they're the oldest. They're the oldest. Them and the Yemenites are the oldest. I mean, you can trace their lineage all the way back to the first temple. I mean, these people can go back in their lineage and just go this person, that person, this person, that person. And so I don't know if you ever heard this, but there's a story in Hebrew it's called Haggadah, but there's a story that I can't verify. But actually, I think Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen mentioned this years ago, that the reason that the Israelis did Operation Moses is they were looking for the Ark of the Covenant. You know, anybody who has the Ark of the Covenant, their army is undefeatable.
Right.
And the Ethiopian Christian Orthodox Church said they had the Ark. So, you know, these people, these Beta Israel, these African tribe of Judah or tribe of Dan, they think they were forced to convert to Christianity. So they call it Falashamura, or Falash is a derogatory term. And so there's a rumor or there's a story that the Israeli army was actually looking for the Ark of the Covenant, and that's why they brought these people back home. That's just a side note. It's interesting. How true it is, I don't know, but it's interesting.
I got a lot I could add to that. So I myself am Ethiopian, and I'm descended from I have a lot of family that claims descendancy from Ahlul Bayt, actually, from prophets, and from specifically Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. There's a lot of Ethiopian scholars that are there, and but they are typically Sunni Muslims. But also there are empires that claim to be descended from Zadok, who was the high priest at the time of Solomon, I think. Solomon and David. I'm not 100. I think it's either at the time of Solomon, and that they're descendants of Moses and Aaron. No, the sons of Aaron, and that they play a role in future prophecy. So this is like really huge because they were a part of the role. They play a role in rebuilding of the temple, and even the fact that the Beta Israel, a lot of them claim descendancy from that high priest, that would preserve possibly. There's a prophecy I think in Ezekiel about the sons of Zadok who keep the Levitical order and laws and everything. So here's something also really interesting about that. The Ethiopian Orthodox preserved the Book of Enoch,
and the Beta Israel
and the Jubilees,
right?
And among the Dead Sea Scrolls also are preserved the Book of Enoch and Jubilees. Now, if you look at what was going on with the Ethiopians and the Essenes, there's really a lot of similarity. And every time we read translated in the Quran, like Christians, there's a lot of disagreements about what those early Christians must have referred to, or anyways, what they were. But the term in the Arabic is an-Nasara. And at first I had to look into this and think, like, what does that mean? An-Nasara, what does it sound like? Nazarite, Nazarenes. I was really trying to look into it and figure it out. And the closest thing that I could think of is like what people refer to as the Essenes, or so in the Hebrew, there's the root letters. It's like Nun, maybe Sadi, I think is the other letter, and then Ra. So in Arabic, the equivalent would be Nun, Sod or Dod, and Ra. I'm not sure the exact one. And in Hebrew, one of the connotations of this means like offshoot. So the Essenes historically would be considered an offshoot after the time of the Babylonians coming in, right? And they were also claiming to restore the history, I think, says that they wanted to restore the Levitical priesthood and go back to the proper ways and follow the proper calendar and all that. And I'm not sure if it was you or someone else I may have seen on YouTube who was breaking down how coming in to the land were like Babylonian traditions and calendar. Changing the calendar may have made a huge difference. So the Essenes, I'm trying to get into a little history about that, but I'm not fully there yet. But inshallah, I could get it.
No, brother,
But it's very interesting the role that they play in history, because people had the Book of Enoch, but they considered it false or like mythological for so many years until they seen it in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Then they didn't question. But the Ethiopian Orthodox Church preserved the Jubilees and the Book of Enoch. So, but you know, so when you have a black faction that was preserving all this, Ethiopia does play a big role in history and preservation. Right. They probably wouldn't respect.
That's the reason that the Arabized Ishmaelites, not all Ishmaelites are Arabized. There's black Ishmaelites and there's pale Ishmaelites. But that's why I think, and I think everything was divinely permitted. That's why they were permitted to enslave all these Israelites and many black peoples across the Middle East, because the children of Israel, we had this knowledge, we had this covenant, and we had sacred text and materials that were in the Torah from Moshe, from Musa. And, so many of these raiders and traders, they were looking for stuff. It wasn't just about getting bodies and just, having a freak show with women. It was about, we needed to get some information. We needed to get books. We needed to get information. We needed to get knowledge. We needed to get the priest. We needed to find who was who. And the same thing with the Portuguese and the West African slave trade. There's, the divine reason for that is because of that lineage. And many of us don't ask, why would Allah allow us to be enslaved and beat and treated like this? And we don't get into the why. A lot of people don't want to ask why he allowed this. And you dropping some of that history is some of the reason. Because remember, back in the day, there was no internet, there was no printing press, there was no email. So knowledge was passed down from one person to another. And if you killed a person of knowledge, a scholar, a priest, or a teacher, then you cut off the people from that knowledge. And so a lot of times raids and attacks on Israelite and black peoples were to try to destroy and get to those knowledge of peace. That's why these crazy folks, so-called ISIS, went into Timbuktu and tried to destroy all the books. Why would you destroy books?
Right, I hate that.
Cut people off.
There's something I could add to that. So I mean, at the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, they say that he had sent his people to the king of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And that he is a just king. And so there's a lot of debate, and people say that he was a Christian who converted to Islam.
Niggas.
But the question I have for them is, like, what would you consider all the prophets that, like all the prophets were Muslims because they observed the commands. And if this king was observing those same commands, following the exact laws that he's supposed to follow, and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sends his people to this king, and then they come in agreement and they're observing all the same things, and they say their message is one and the same, then that dude was already a Muslim. But Trinity doctrines have made it all over the world, and now the Ethiopian Orthodox Church must have embraced it. But in the past, they have even a division between what they call God. So the name of God that they used is Exabier, which means it would be the equivalent of Allah. Or no, maybe like the equivalent of Yahweh or Yahweh.
Is that the Amharic word?
That is the Amharic, or Ge'ez is the ancient,
Oh,
very ancient Semitic language of uh, of Ethiopia, which they say is very similar to the South Arabian languages too.
and Paleo Hebrew.
Yeah,
If you look at the symbols, you know, I tried to teach myself Amharic and Ge'ez at one time, and if you look at the symbols, they're very similar, man. That's very suspicious. Very similar.
yeah, it's a very, very ancient Semitic tongue.
And it's funny,
even when they're in there,
talk about this. Except
when they're, I mean, it has a lot to do with the divide between what's going on with in America right now. We have a lot of Israelites posting that map, that lineage map, and they're only showing it in the West or the Americas. And there's ancient maps of Africa with different kingdoms of Judah. So, I mean, the most famous one that everyone knows was the Ethiopian one, because they maybe haven't been conquered and whatnot. But there were much more in West Africa and maybe in South Africa. So it has to be there can't be that divide and just ignorance that's going on, calling people in Africa just, oh, those are the Hamites. Those are, I mean, the languages that people speak in Africa, most of them are Hamido-Semitic languages, meaning they have Cushitic elements, which is one of the sons of Ham, and Semitic elements. So even in Ethiopia, there's debates about it, who's descended from the Semitic speaking peoples and the Hamitic peoples. And this has always been a war of ignorance.
We intermixed. We intermixed.
Yeah, we're all black people are intermixed. All of them.
Right.
So, I mean, we try to argue, but I think one brother may have said that like even called to like look at the descendancy of Abraham himself, peace be upon him. Was he fully Semitic, like 100%, or was he intermixed? So if our forefather wasn't, then there's no way we are, especially at this point in history. But so going back to the king of Abyssinia, if the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sent his people to him at a time of persecution when Muslims were being persecuted in Mecca by the Quraysh, which there's a lot of history that I guess we have to look into, but it's very hard with all the falsehood that's been thrown on to that history. We just try to use like our common sense of reading. Well, not common sense, but we have to read through the scriptures and see how Judah is treated and know our personality traits, know what is going on, and see what was probably going on compared to the false history that's thrown onto it. But there's a huge connection between Arabia and Ethiopia, especially with the languages and where people went. Because, I mean, here's another huge thing. Ethiopia, the country, Africa was once called Ethiopia. The term is Latin, meaning burnt faces. So it was the land of the burnt faces. But through colonization, one by one, each kingdom that was like, that wasn't being colonized, they would lose. I mean, they would keep the lands that were colonized were still being called. I mean, weren't the lands that were uncolonized were not being called Ethiopia. I know I messed that up. My fault. I'm all over the place. Let me look for a map. There's some maps on this. I'll bring it up in a little bit. If you have any questions, you can ask real quick.
If possible, I wanted the camera back on something that was mentioned.
But we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. That's
I said I'm about to look something up real quick and try to share my screen. But y'all could ask any questions or engage the conversation. My fault. I just want to bring something up real quick.
Yeah, I got a question. The Beta Israel, the claim was that they were being persecuted by the the Orthodox Ethiopian Christians, Ethiopian government. I mean, have you done any research on that? And that was the reason for Operation Moses.
For a while there has been a war between not a war, it's like a I don't the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the way that it's set up in some ways resembles like Catholic Church with like there's a leader at the top, and they had a lot to do with the kingdoms that existed in the history of this. People were being persecuted left and right, whether it was Muslims or even the Jews there. So the term falasha is even what they refer to the Ethiopian Beta Israel Jews, and it's a derogatory term for like strangers. So, but the descendancy of most of the people there, they commonly claim descendancy from Solomon. A lot of people, or at least the kings for sure. So, I mean, it's just that ignorance that's supposed to destroy Judah and the remnant history that's really going on. And I don't know if people personally just, there's some big plot to do that, or just people's ignorance and they're going with what goes on in the rest of the world. Because that land has preserved these people for so long. Just now they're going to, in the history, go against Judah. I don't know. There's more for me to look into upon that.
Yeah, Brother David, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You said something on Facebook about slavery.
Yeah, I was having a discussion with a brother, Muslim brother, and he said that we were talking about slavery, and he said slavery is halal if it's done the correct way. I don't understand that, and
what's your thoughts about it? And I want to say something about it after you say. What you think?
Well, you know, the way my mind works, you know, there's the theoretical, there's the theory, and there's the practical. And I was like, okay, first of all, I cannot show me a period in time where, quote unquote, slavery was done the correct way. Now, some people will say, well, hey, when you go to jail or go to prison, you're going to come type of slavery, and that's true. But when we talk about slavery, I'm talking about the colloquial term. I'm talking about you conquer another people and you enslave them with no rights whatsoever. And I don't understand how someone, I'm me personally, I can't vouch for any kind of stuff. Probably because I'm a descendant.
That sounds like Hadith and Sunnah nonsense.
I'm a descendant of a slave, so you know I can't be that. But I can't understand how anyone can say that slavery done in a correct manner in terms, you know, keep the slave. Because if I'm not correct, the highest goal is to free a slave, right? To free a slave is the highest. You're supposed to get all these rewards for freeing a slave. So I don't understand what a correct slavery means. Now, the reason we were talking about this is that, you know, and I know this is going. I know everybody fasten your seatbelts because I know folks gonna get hurt. But you know, Islam doesn't outright ban slavery. And it's always been an issue.
Wait, say it again.
Islam does not outright ban slavery.
No, it does not.
It doesn't say. The only reason I can clarify this is because
I want to explain that.
There's a big difference between slavery and prisoners of war, though. And I've
heard people say
people were prisoners of war.
Say they're prisoners of war, but clearly with the history,
I want to explain. All right. Okay. Yes, Islam does not totally get rid of slavery, but this is how slavery works in the Quran. You got to think of tribes, different families. If I'm a tribe, let's say the Malmadh tribe, and then you got the Salam tribe. All right, and we're minding our business, and then the Salam tribe comes over, messing with us, and we fight them. We burn their village down. We fight, and then When the smoke is clear, you have homeless people. Homeless people. You burn down their houses. You killed some of their men because y'all fought a mutual war. So now you have a bunch of homeless people. What are you going to do? Are you going to allow them to live in the woods? Are you going to allow them to starve to death? Or are you going to take them in? When you take them in, are they just going to sit on the couch and do nothing? Seriously, let's say a homeless person knock on let's say your cousin, right? You have a cousin, he's homeless. He knocking on your door and he's like, man, let me in, man. Let me in. You let him in. Is he just gonna sit on the couch all day long and you do all the work? What you gonna do with your cousin?
Okay.
You gonna put him
Or something.
Yeah, he's gonna have to work for his food. So that is the righteousness of slavery in the Quran. We're not gonna leave them homeless. We're gonna take them in, and eventually we want them to get on their feet. Eventually we want them to be free. Eventually we want them to build their own house. But for right now, you go wash my car. I'm not gonna beat you or nothing like that, but you're gonna wash my car because you're homeless. We burn down your house. You can die. You be out in the woods and a lion can get you and all that. That's the tribal way. That is righteous slavery.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's what the Quran is talking about. That type of slavery, not kidnapping.
Yeah, that's something totally different than what happened with the slavery with the colonialism. That's something
And
totally different.
The Arab
That's
slavery. That's
servitude.
Yeah, that's kidnapping.
They took steroids and they form of slavery.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even call it's kidnapping. That's like sex trafficking. That's what it was. No, if you want, even today, if I go down the road and I see a homeless person and I say, man, come on, I'm gonna give you room and board. But you gonna have to wash the dishes. That's my servant. That's my slave. Even Abraham has servants.
Okay, maybe, that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe he found a homeless dude, but the homeless dude is not gonna live in here for free. You know, you gonna have to work the garden. Go ahead.
Can you share your insight on the concept of servitude and handmaidens as it relates to welfare, public welfare?
Ooh, that's. I'm glad we ain't got no women on here. We got one. We got one. I'm glad you're the only one. No, we got another one. She might be all right. We got two. Okay. Yeah. I mean, back in the day, I don't think there was no such thing as welfare. Like you have these women, a lot of these women that are on welfare in the biblical times, they would have been somebody's handmaid. They wouldn't have been what do they call that thing that you when you help somebody have a baby? What do they call it?
Surrogate.
Not surrogate,
welfare.
But not nurse. Maid, not maid. You help somebody have a baby.
Handmaid.
You're their doula.
That's a handmaid.
Yeah.
I thought it was wet nurse.
Yeah, wet nurse, whatever. Yeah, one of them. So back in those days, you was somebody's handmaid. Women did not. That's why we probably have a lot of problems with our women today. Women did not have babies by themselves. They had like personal assistants. Like every woman would have like a handmaid assigned to them. A lot of these chicks that are like on welfare and stuff. Back in my grandma time, my grandma, she used to go in white people's homes and clean their homes and stuff like that. And be their like assistant. Lord, you gotta spark my brain. Because I would. What else you want to know about that? You gotta spark my brain. Because I would.
No, I mean that I was just saying that, that's pretty insightful. Like if we, I know in the whatever Dean community, it's the whole concept of we take care of our own. So
Yes.
if we had a type of handmaiden type program, then we wouldn't need to worry about taking handouts from the government and getting going on welfare and things like that, because we would take care of our own. And then in the same thing, women who have jobs and who are out there taking care of the family and so on and so forth, assisting with taking care of the family, they wouldn't be so overwhelmed with being a wife, being a mother, working outside of the home, if you're working outside of the home, you would have someone in the home to help you. A handmaid.
Right.
You know, sister, believe it or not, there's a lot of sisters who, if I may, there's a lot of sisters who's actually who's peeping that game. And I forgot the name of this sister, but she actually opened up like some type of business that does something up to that nature where you can actually give birth at home. And if I find that information, if I find that information, I'll put it in the comment section. Like, you know, once this turns into a playback video, I'll put it in the comment section for sure. But yeah, the powers that be, knowing the system of Allah, they definitely blaspheme the system of how we had things in order as a family. Because me and my wife was just talking, and she was asking, and I'm gonna leave it here. I ain't trying to take over nothing, but like, you know, like, why the multiple wives, and you know, why these brothers and multiple wives? Why can't I have multiple husbands? And I was breaking it down to her how it happened during the time of the Quran, during time of war, where a lot of brothers out there was dying. All you got is these women and children hanging around, vulnerable. Kind of sound familiar, right? Like what's going on now?
Yeah, right now.
Tase and choke and knee on the stand, all that, just for having a broken tail light, all that. Now we got vulnerable sisters out there. On another level, if we want to go into statistics, I think if I'm not mistaken, there's like 3 women to 1 man.
Yeah.
More than that.
So right, 5 to 1 man. Something over in India, I think they, you know, man, 10 women to 1 man. But let's say that we obey what most sisters would talk about, you know, 1 man, 1 woman. Okay, let's do that, right? 1 man to 1 woman. We still got, what, 63% of women who still single? Yeah. And that possibly need some help. So what do you do if one of them ends up being your mama? What do you do if one of them ends up being your auntie Boosie, who ain't got no man? What does she do? She just goes back to, she's just out there in the game, you know? And at least she can be married to another brother who might have 2 or 3 wives, but at least she's protected. At least now she got death inheritance. At least now, you see what I'm saying? Those enemies out there that might see her being vulnerable, okay, she walks, she get out and get in the house, but they see her walking into this house and they know, oh, a man lives there. They gonna probably flip a little bit. Next time they try to ambush, they might not even do it, you know? But I just wanted to throw that out there. Unfortunately, they flip. And the only circumstances, as far as I'm concerned, I'm being a Quranist, by the way. I'm against associate books like Hadith and Sunnah that Allah did not prescribe, that came 200 years after Muhammad hit the grave. But anyway, circumstances that the wife, that lady had to be a widow with children. So it couldn't just be no single, you know, looking sister just walking around just single and, oh, I want to marry her. No, that wasn't the circumstances as far as I was concerned to have an additional wife. It was to help out a widow that had children, and that her husband died either through work, war, whatever. And you had to get permission from the first wife, because it says if you cannot be fair to all of them, just stick to one. Peace and love.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
can I? Let me say something.
Discussion.
Yeah, that
We're gonna have to have a whole show with some sisters, because that's gonna be a long show.
Yeah, that's a long show.
We ain't even talking about concubines and polygamy. Did I say the word? Oops, I meant
You said it.
Let me take that off the video.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Just to go for Shahrazad Ali, I don't follow obviously the philosophy of Nation of Islam, but I do eat the meat, spit out the bones. And one thing she did said, for your sister who's like, oh, I can't see a man with a lot of, married to a lot of women. There's brothers out here already doing that. They call baby daddies and baby mamas. There's brothers out here with like 15 women out here. Just get married to them eventually and be legal.
Hey, Brother Bay. Brother Bay, you're talking to a Muslima, so I understand. I understand polygamy, and it's fine. I'd be glad. You know what? I'll be glad when our community talk this thing through and take care of it and be done with it, so we can move on to bigger and better things. But the bottom line is, we come from we come from Africa, okay? And the bottom line is, in Africa, that's how we roll, okay? If your husband has multiple, if your husband is well off, and not even well off, but has a decent, if he's okay, then yes, he has multiple wives, and there's benefits to that. Absolutely. And go ahead.
Since we're talking about the laws and commandments, Nida, or the menstrual cycle observance, is different in the Torah and Quran. So this is a subject I don't even like. I don't really can't even really deal with because I don't experience it. So how do you deal with that? Because the Torah, there's a difference between Is there a difference between the observance? Because Israelites, they can't even be in the same bed, but the Prophet Muhammad said they could be in the same bed.
That's hadith.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. What's the take on that?
So in my opinion, like I say, I don't believe in hadith. So to me, Torah is law. And so you go with what the Torah says. The Quran touches on the issue dealing with the menstruating women. It doesn't go into details about the number of days that are involved, and things like that. So we always go to the Torah to find out exactly what we need to do to be halal with that. You just go to the Torah, because when you get into the hadith, now you're getting into all kinds of this hadith says this hadith says that.
I think the hadith writers just copied from the Torah.
Some of them actually, and some of the sheikhs will tell you that. Some of the sheikhs will say
word for word.
They'll put a little disclaimer out there that this was pulled from, and they'll give the Torah, the scripture.
Thank you. You have to do a show on that. That's a whole topic.
That's a whole nother thing. But like I said, with the whole concept of polygamy, I just want to let you all know, hello, brothers, newsflash. There's a lot of sisters out there who we're fine with that. It's not that big of a deal. You come to us correct and say, hey, this is what it is, and we're fine with that. It's not that serious. We got a whole lot more things going on in our community. And the bottom line is, like you said, and there's a let me see if I can pull that verse up really quick. There's a verse that says that there will be one man to 7 women. Give me a second. Let me pull that up really quick.
Is it in Isaiah?
It's in Isaiah. Yeah, let me pull it up.
That's an interesting number.
It says here, Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1.
Yeah.
It says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. So we got to be realistic. We got to be real. I mean, we can't live in la la land, fantasy land, because what happens for those sisters who are like, no, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Then now your husband is going out behind your back and doing things instead of making it one family, one strong family where everyone is benefiting from this. So like you said, that's a whole nother topic. But my thing was with the handmaiden, which I would imagine, which we know scripturally, there have been times where the handmaiden did become married to the husband. Say, for example, some of the tribes of Israel, some of the children of Israel their mom was initially a handmaiden, But that's where I was going with it, is that we got a lot of work to do as women in this society, and we need help. The bottom line, we need help. It's just a lot to do by yourself, cooking and cleaning and taking care of children, and then you're also going out to work, and then you're being a wife, and then you have education. So you kind of need that help. And if you talk to the different Muslims in the community who have said, you know what, they've submitted to this because this is something that Allah has made permissible, you will find them they got a lot more free time on their hand than women who want to go out there and do everything by themselves. Mm-hmm. It's kind of ridiculous. So hey, brother Bay, some women that know. Hey, brother Bay, brother Bay, you said some women who are signing up to be handmaidens.
No, there's one sister created like a business or something where the service of giving birth at home. Like she provides sisters to who want to have that experience. Yeah, it actually now it just hit my mind. There's a new video, kind of recent. I can't say new, but recent video with Jay-Z featuring Pharrell. I think it was called Entrepreneur. She's in that video.
Oh wow!
They talk about that video along with the sister who sells the honey pot stuff for your your private hygiene and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Yeah, you're not alone.
That's something we need to look into as a community. The whole handmaiden thing, because I'm sure there are sisters out there that would be interested in that to supplement their income.
That's how we used to do it before.
Right.
You know, I was when I visited Dimona, I met a brother with 11 wives, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
I was stunned.
You said, you said what place? Ramona?
Dimona, Israel.
Oh, okay.
You know, I spent some time with Ben Ami's community there. Maybe 10 years ago. And I had to look on my passport to see what my stamp was. But yeah, he had 11 wives, brother, and he made it work. I mean, 11, brother. Come on. I can't imagine.
How many children?
Oh, brother, he had he had over 20-something children. They all spoke Hebrew, English, Spanish. They had no crime in the community. I don't want to paint it as a panacea because I know they had issues, but I was stunned. Because I've never been to a all black, totally communal community, and these people were literalists. I mean, during the Sabbath, they were literal. It was like pitch black. I tripped over something. I hurt my leg. I was in complete darkness. I mean, it was just like it was like I was like walking in the Old Testament. But I met a brother with 11. He had 11 wives, brother. So that's a bad brother. There. I couldn't do 11. I'm sorry.
I know. Hey, if you can, hey. But
they had a beautiful community. He had 23 children, and it was we were at their dinner table during Sabbath, and they were very disciplined, and he had them organized like the military, They would line up and
that's good.
Hey, I finally brought up these maps, and I like to share my screen and show y'all just real quick to bring light to Israelites being in Africa, just lined out even by like the Europeans on maps. So,
okay, let me see. I'm new to this. You know how to share the screen?
Yeah, he should be able to share the screen button. He should be able to hit.
Okay, so hit the share the screen button.
Yeah, there's a button on the bottom that says share screen.
Oh, I see it. Okay, I see something. Hold on. Let me help. Hold on.
Oh.
I see it.
Aki Salam is at the bottom. It says share screen. You see it?
All right, you see it? Is it up?
There we go.
Oh, whoa, that's instructive.
There you go.
All right, so this is the website called blackhistoryinthebible.com. I don't endorse this thing or anything, but I just came on here to use the map. So this says the 1737 Judah map. I think they're referring to the whole map of Africa. So I click in. All right.
Oh, that's a good map, brother. Nice.
So wow. This is all in that. But it's really interesting. Here you have like West African regions. You have East Africa. And you got some Southern African regions out here. So one interesting thing right here, 1937 map, you got all the way here in West Africa, it says Ethiopia. Across. And now in like central, southern, a little bit central regions, it's Ethiopia right across. But even in the land of what people know presently today as Ethiopia, it just says Abyssinia. It doesn't even say Ethiopia. So that term is a Latin term to describe burnt faces. So often we'll see in the King James Version, or like plenty Bible versions where you see a translated word that will come out to Ethiopia. But often in the Hebrew, it'll say Cush. And people talk about the land of Cush. And there's a lot of debate about it. If it was all of Africa, if it was some of Africa, if it was Nubia, if it's Abyssinia, what exactly is it? And I'm not so sure, but I'll just go into this other map that I see. Now, this says it's a what? Ethiopian Ocean map. So, oh, all right, is it zoomed in? Y'all can see it? I'll try to zoom in.
Kind of small.
Okay. Well, across. So this is definitely West African region right here, and it reads across it Ethiopia once again. And I scroll down on this map, and one of these regions below that identified says Judah. And the website here has a lot of explanations on it, like about kingdoms of Judah being in West Africa. But like maybe if I just scroll across this map, there might be other spots that just says Judah really on it. I think I've seen on the website. So it's a pretty cool website to check out. Black History and Bible. I just looked into it, seen a couple maps. Let me go.
West Africa.
Right here, they got it lined up. Maps of Hebrews in Africa. 1766 shows Negro land as populated by Jews. It goes on. So I'm gonna just leave the link there. Yep.
Good deal. Good deal. On that map, did it have Egypt in any areas? I know Egypt is like it's Greek.
What is Egypt's original name?
People say Egypt is in the Hebrew I think it's Mitzrayim, and in Greek I think they say it translates to like confusion or deception. I'm not sure about that. I just heard a brother say that one, so I'd look into it.
I believe it was Kush, but that was some homework I did years ago, so I don't know.
Hold on. That was some good stuff. Good stuff.
And I throw a little hint out there. I'm gonna throw a little jewel out there for those who, if I may, who deal with Trinitarian Christians. I actually have a debate with one 2 years ago or so. So I deal with him a lot on chat rooms and whatnot. Pretty annoying. But just hit him with John 17 verse 3. Whenever you're dealing with a Trinitarian, hit him with John 17 verse 3.
What it saying? What it saying? Hold on.
Jesus refers to the Father as the one true God.
Okay.
Look that up. John 17 verse 3. Let's look that up. Give me 1 second. John 17 verse 3. Okay. Now this is eternal life, that they know that they know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you have sent.
Yeah. You want them to sound like Porky Pig? Give them that verse. They get to going beep 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 beep. Well, you see. Yeah. Just give them that verse and lean back. Peace and love.
All right.
Yeah. Ah. Yeah, God, let's see. Hold on. Let me share. Hold on. Let's go back to the people of the book, and I'm going to share another little verse about the people of the book. Another ayat. And then we'll start wrapping it up. You'll go 372. All right. I know it's like all negative about the people of the book, but I do want us to key in on some positives. It did say that we're not all the same. The scriptures also said they're righteous of the people of the book. We're not all the same. So what we need to do is try our best to be in that category of the righteous and not in the category of the wrongdoers. I just wanted to read this. It's gonna start right here. I'm gonna start right here. In the dark area, the bold area. Among the people of the book are some who, if entrusted with a hoard of gold, will readily pay it back. Others who, if entrusted with a single silver coin, will not repay it unless thou constantly stood demanding, because they say there is no call on us with these ignorant pagans, but they tell a lie against Allah. Well, they know it. So this shows, do you know anybody? Do you know anybody of the people of the book, black folks, Negroes, that owe you money? Any Negroes owe you money? Hello?
Pretty much. Sure, I know a so-called Muslim that owe me some money.
So this is an attribute of the people of the book. They are not good at paying people back. All right? I don't know if it's because of the state of poverty, or whatever. So, if you give the people of the book $5, it is a high probability that you will not get your $5. I mean, if you let them borrow, you will not get your $5 back. So it's best to just give it to them. All right. So this is another little ayat about our people, some of our people. All right. All right. All right. Is everybody done? I can wrap it up if everybody's finished talking. Anybody got any closing?
I'll just say, whatever you guys do, wherever you are in your walk of life, just don't forget about the Most High. Just remember, he sees all. He's the all-encompassing, and he knows. Somebody do you wrong, they owe you $5 or whatever. You do your best and just leave the rest to the Most High. All he want to see is us try. He wins in the end, if I'm not mistaken, in Revelation. He wins. So don't feel too down and everything about the Illuminati and our sisters won't get it together. Our brothers out here, they just out here. Just do your best and leave God, leave the rest to God. He just want to see us try. Peace and love.
Thank you so much, Brother Bay. All right, y'all. I want to hit the two hour mark. We're at 1:59. So we're gonna wrap it up. Give me one moment. Show my screen. Okay, hold on. Oh, I see it right here. All right. I think we had a pretty good talk. The original topic was about the calendar, but we go on topic is not a problem. I would like everyone to go back to the beginning of this video, calendar, go over month 2, month 3, month 4, or you never know, something might change and we might have a totally different topic, but we do need to stay on task. Oh, peace, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend.